All right, we are live. Happy Wednesday, everybody. I can't believe it is the middle of September already, and this time is marching on. And once again, every week we have amazing people out here, experts in the health and wellness field. And tonight I am especially excited to introduce here Nathaniel Friesel. Okay. Um, Nathaniel, you're Courtney's what?
I'm Courtney's nephew.
Nephew. That's right. Courtney's nephew here. And he is a health coach and a personal trainer. So he is no stranger to health and wellness, fitness, and all that encounters there. He is based out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and he works with a team from MIT and CMU. So, Nate, I'm so excited to have you with us tonight, and I'm going to pass it over to you, dude. I'd love to know, what you do. What are you all about?
Yeah. So I am, as you mentioned, I'm Nathaniel Frizzell. I've been coaching now for, how old is my son? I've been coaching and training for 18 years now. I started off basically working with only athletes, and it's branched into me working with a lot of different individuals all around the world. And in the last like 3 years, I think I've worked with someone from almost every different country. It's been sort of just an amazing experience. I am
Oh,
working with
that's
CoPilot.
awesome.
Yeah, I'm working with CoPilot, and we just rebranded from Delta Trainer. I think the last time I was on here and I was able to speak, we were still using the Delta Trainer moniker, but we have since changed since August 1st.
Wow. That is amazing. That's quite some accomplishment there. So Nathaniel, tell me a little bit. So you talked there. So you said you're a father. You have children?
Yeah, so I have three kids. I have an 18-year-old, a 16-year-old, and a 6-year-old. So
Wow.
yeah, my
And
18-year-old
look,
actually
you
just
stay so
graduated from high school.
young. It's
Oh,
that
for
fitness.
sure, for sure. I don't know if it's the water or the exercise or the both of them together, but definitely.
It's just, yeah, it's just doing it every day, right?
Right.
And living it. So that's awesome. So Nathaniel, can you tell us a little bit about this co-pilot program? You know, where we talked about where it was based from, but a little bit of that and what all it is. And there you are on the big billboard there. Where's that at, Nathaniel?
So there were about 30 billboards all around Pittsburgh for the last couple of months because we recently rebranded from Delta Trainer. This one looks like it's one of the ones that's in Squirrel Hill. It's sort of funny. There are two by my house, and I was gone for a walk the other day, and this couple walked by me, and I just know I'm just like, oh, they're gonna look at me, and they're gonna see that billboard when they come around the corner.
There he is. There he is.
Right,
Hey, he's
right.
famous.
I I purposely didn't tell anyone whenever the billboards were starting to get posted because I sort of wanted to see what everyone's reaction was. And I was getting text messages from my friends like every other day saying like, "Hey, I was just like walking down the street and I think I saw you on a billboard."
That's so awesome. Oh, Nathaniel, we have Courtney.
Hey guys,
The
how's
man too. The man of
how's it going?
CWC has joined us.
what's happening, nephew? What's going on?
Nothing much, man. It's good to see you.
You too. Hey Heidi,
Hi,
happy
Courtney.
Wednesday. Hi everybody.
Regina says hello, Nathaniel.
How's it going, Regina? I actually bought one of her cookbooks. I actually sent it to one of my friends who's a vegan. And she appreciates it.
Oh my
Awesome.
goodness. Mai also says hello, Nathaniel.
Oh, hi,
Can't wait to
Ma.
hear more about you.
Awesome.
I wish I was able to. I'm actually clearly I'm traveling in the vehicle, but did want to let Nate know how proud I am of him. For those that are joining in, Nate is my nephew, and I've seen him grow in such a way, and he should be on billboards, and he's going to be on bigger billboards than that because what you're doing is you're really helping a lot of people, and the way that you do it is in a very unique way. Nate is pretty much like very brilliant in terms of his how he learns and how he teaches movement and fitness, and and I learned so much from you, and I just wanted to let you know how proud I am of you, and just keep doing what you're doing. You're helping a lot of people, and I'm excited to see you continue to grow.
I appreciate
Regina
it.
wanted to say thank you,
Oh, for
Nathaniel,
sure.
and Lynette just said, hey. So she said, go ahead, nephew.
Hey.
Hello, Lynette. Hello,
Nephew.
everybody out there.
Awesome. No, it's
So
honestly
what we
been
talking
it's
about
been
tonight?
amazing.
We're talking about your nephew, what he does, what this CoPilot, he is
Okay.
going to tell us all about it, and some questions that come up, actually, that is asked for the trainers. So we're going to go over all of this here, what he does, what he's about, what some things that some questions that some people out there might have. So we're excited, Courtney.
Awesome. Well, I'm gonna just mute my mic, and Heidi, I'm gonna let you do your thing, and Nate do your thing, and I'm gonna enjoy the show.
For sure.
All right. Okay, Nate, go ahead. You can take it over there.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say, the rebrand came about from a place where we really just looked at who we were servicing and everyone who we had in the app, and sort of like what it is that we actually did. And we realized that the name Delta Trainer was very limiting, because we are much more than just trainers. We're not just sort of like a service and app that you pick up and you get some like canned workouts. You get a real coaching experience, depending on what your goal is. It could be, if you have a weight loss goal, you have a coach that's there for you. They'll help point you in the direction of the best nutrition resources. If you have like a strength goal and you want to, look like Mr. America or Mr. Universe, we have coaches that are available to help get you there as well. But really, our biggest thing is helping people like where they are, like wherever it is that you come from, whatever your background is in fitness or health. Even if you don't have any information, if you're just like, hey, my doctor told me I need to be healthy, we help work with people to help them get there. And that is sort of like the co-pilot approach. It is really a co-pilot approach because we can't do this alone. I always tell people like, I can make the best programming for you. It could be like, world-class training, but if it's not something that you're able to do or something that you want to do, it won't work. So we have to figure out what works best for like what your actual life is and what your day-to-day is, and help fit those things in.
Wow, that is pretty awesome. And I'm glad you said that, Nathaniel, because here's the thing, you can have the greatest program out there.
Yeah.
If it's something that's not conducive to what you need, like you know what I mean, it's not going to work. And we was talking backstage earlier about all this stuff, all this misinformation that is out there, and stuff that is spirit. Like everybody, we was talking about, hey, if your heart is bad, you go to a heart doctor, right? Like people need to seek out these experts now too. I mean, yeah, we can get some information and on that, but that accountability, that's what these experts are out here doing, and that's what they're for. They're trained for that.
Right. I think about like my own personal journey into fitness, sort of like wanting to play sports, wanting to get bigger and stronger and stuff like that. And you see people in the gym and you see that they're bigger. So your first inclination is to ask them like, what is it that you're doing? And a lot of times people can't tell you. A lot of times people are just like, well, I saw this person do it, so I did it. But we have a lot of coaches that are highly educated, who have gone through different institutions, who are accredited, have certifications, and even within our organization, we continue to push for like continued education, because like even though the body's anatomy doesn't change, like every human's body is made up of the same things. The information about it is continuing to be researched in a very big way, and just helping people break down, this is what the scientific data says and this is what it should mean to you, versus just giving people like the high level scientific information. What's funny is I have people who are on each end of the spectrum. I have some people who they don't care what you tell them to do. They trust me. They give me keys to the wheel, and just like, if you program stuff out for me and you tell me what to do, I'm just going to do it. And I have other people who who they question everything. And I love both ends of that spectrum, because for the people who are just like, I'm going to trust your programming, I'm going to put my head down, I'm going to run through a wall with it. They do just that. They're very accountable whenever we chat. They're like letting me know that they're hitting like their food numbers, they're doing everything they're supposed to be doing. And then the person who really is just like, I need you to hold my hand, I need you to walk me through this. I love working with them as well, because it helps me think about different challenges that I have with like even family members and stuff. There's like everyone who is in my circle is not healthy, unfortunately, but like my goal is always to make them more healthy. And working with different individuals helps me get like a scope on like, oh yeah, this is like something my mom said, and this is how she thinks about it. So it allows me to like spread my knowledge to more people, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, and that's so true. And I think it's so important for people out there to realize the training that goes through.
Yeah.
Like this here, this was my nutrition book from ISSA, okay? Because so we educate, we have a book that we read, and then every couple years we have to get so many credits to maintain
Yep.
because stuff is changing constantly. Courtney says it's so important to have something for everyone who raises their hand and says they want to get healthy. And
Right.
that's true. All these different things that experts, they read up on, they learn about, and they're bringing it out. Remember, we talked, if you walked into a cardiologist and he gave you his his thought on how to get you healthy, and you said, nah, that's okay, I'm just gonna go Google it, and I'm gonna fix my own heart, thanks anyways, though, right?
Right. I
So
always tell people like, you may have three other things happening today. You may have like your main job. You might like work in an office. You might do anything. You might have your kids that you're dealing with on the outside of that, and you might also have to be thinking about dinner. The last thing that you want to be thinking about is like, okay, what workout do I do? Or like,
yeah,
so I
yeah,
always tell people like, I am here to help you out as much as I can, even if that means us talking about like, what is it that you're grocery shopping for? Like, what do you have in your cabinets? Like, how do we make your lifestyle situations easier? Because I think what there are so many barriers to like doing the right thing every day. And I think one of the things that I break down typically is like, how do we make like the right thing easier? How do we put that within reach for you, rather than you feeling like you have to jump over hurdles to get to that right thing?
awesome. Mai Tai wants to know, how often does the average person do this program?
So what's so funny is right now we're offering a free month. So you get started, you get a free month. But we find is most people end up sticking with it for longer than 6 months, because we take such a holistic approach in terms of coaching and training that it's hard to put it down. I've had people who've had like weight loss goals where they're just like, I want to lose 10 pounds before a wedding in 3 months. And we hit those goals. And as we get closer to those goals and they're getting closer to that wedding, they're just like, well, I like the way my back and my arms look. I want to hit like a pull-up goal. I want to be able to do 10 pull-ups, by the next 3 months. So it's basically, we just end up pivoting and moving in different directions. And then the other thing is, because we work with a bunch of different populations, we have a lot of people who are going through different points in their life where I might start off working with someone who has a weight loss goal and then they get pregnant. So now we have like, okay, how do I maintain my health through this pregnancy? And that happens. And then on the other end of that, it's just like, well, how do I get my body back to where it was before I was pregnant? So it's like, it's a very cyclical thing. We do have it set though, that at any point, if you wanted to, you could cancel or you pause. And then because we have such a large number of coaches, if you ever want to switch coaches, you're able to do that as well. And I think we have like, when you first sign up for the app, you actually get to choose your coach based on whatever your goals were. And we have a lot of different experts who have like different things that they're best at. But once you select that coach, you're always able to change over. And we always say, like, just like anything else, sometimes you just don't have the chemistry with the person. And you're just like, my motivation level is a 7, and I need to make sure that my motivation gets to a 10. And this person might not get me there. And we just like, hey, we help you match with the person that's going to get you there.
Awesome. Nathaniel, I have Courtney has a question here, and
Yeah.
I'd like to before too I asked this question, or he asked this question. can you just go over real quick exactly and pinpoint what CoPilot is?
Yeah.
Like exactly what it is. But Courtney has a question here too. It says, how does your company track your clients' goals and motivate them to continue on their journey?
Yeah, and that's sort of, these two answers are sort of correlated to each other. So basically, what CoPilot is CoPilot is a one-on-one coaching platform that allows like users to match with a coach to help them get to whatever their fitness goal is. So whenever you sign up for a CoPilot, the first thing you'll do is you'll put in your information in terms of like what your goal is, and then you'll put in just some demographic information, stuff that the coach could know. And then once that happens, you'll schedule a one-on-one call with your coach, typically through FaceTime or Zoom. And then the coach will be able to dive into everything that it is, like who you are. Our main focus for a lot of the calls are just like figuring out like, okay, who are you really? Like, who is it that I'm talking to? And like, what is your goal and what does that mean to you? Because as you may know, like, someone may come to you and say, hey, my goal is to lose 10 pounds, right? But realistically, the number sometimes ends up being less important than what their body is feeling along that journey. So it's like, what is it really that you want from that 10 pounds? Do you want to lose 10 pounds because you haven't been that light since you were like an undergrad in college? Or do you want to lose 10 pounds because you really want to be able to run without any pain in your knees? So like helping get down to like the bare bones of what that actual goal is. And then once you have your goals set, it sort of begins the process. We sort of have different ways for you to track your progress throughout the app. And CoPilot works on the Apple system, so on iOS. So that means if you have an Apple Watch and you have an iPhone, you can use it. If you only have an iPhone, you can use it. And if you have an iPad, you can use it. So any of those platforms work currently for CoPilot. And you know, we have some really ingenuitive tech people, and we're always looking for different ways to expand that. But currently, it's just iOS only. But once you get started, if you say you have you use the health app on the iPhone, and you automatically put your weight in there, you have like a scale that will read your weight and your body fat. Those numbers will automatically be added into the app. And basically, the coach will just keep you on task. Like, if this is your goal, if your goal is to lose 10 pounds, the coach is going to be pointing you into the right direction in terms of resources and stuff to move to you losing those 10 pounds. If your goal is otherwise, like I've had some people who want to lose like 3 or 4 inches off their waist. We track waist measurement progress as well. And there's also a way in the app that shows you sort of like the best way to measure yourself. That way you're not getting sort of like inconsistent numbers throughout the week. So you feel like, you know, you're not hitting your goals, or you hit your goals way too fast.
Right. It's awesome. And we're sharing on the screen here right now. We're
Yep.
scrolling around here showing the information on there. So just go to your page there, which we'll give that link to everybody here before we go. And I have a question here also from Regina. She said, when clients set a goal, how do you determine or what do you use to determine if their goal is realistic at that point? Do you have them readjust or change the goal according to their needs or lifestyle?
Yeah.
That's a great
So
question, Regina.
definitely a great question. So one thing that all the coaches are currently going through is a precision nutrition certification. It's a nutrition-based company that looks at like actual like goal setting and like healthy goal setting. So a lot of things that we talk about are like a client's SMART goals, like scientific, measurable, attainable, time-sensitive goals, stuff like that. Because realistically, like say a person wants to lose 100 pounds in 3 months, that's really difficult outside of surgery. So we do help redirect people into like very specific and realistic goals. And a lot of that, again, comes from the coach interaction. I had someone recently who I met with who wanted to lose 25 pounds. So the first question I typically ask someone whenever they say like, hey, I want to be 145 pounds, it's like, well, why'd you choose that number? Sometimes it's based on like someone else that they've seen. They're like, well, this person is 145 pounds and I want to look like that. Which is like, okay, so you want like to have the body of that person. That's like a thing that we can talk about even more. But then the other part of that is like, well, have you ever been 145 pounds before? And typically they'll tell you like, yeah, I was 145 pounds like when I was 18. So then we have to like sort of pull them back in. So like, okay, what was going on in your life when you were 18? Like what things did you have and what did you have? And I always like to tell people like getting to your ideal body is like a healthy flow chart. at the top of the flow chart is like where you are currently, and at the bottom is your goal. And there's a bunch of yes and no decisions that you have to make to get to this goal. Sometimes it's like, it's like, I want to be, I always try to compare it to someone. So I'm like, if you think about The Rock as like the ideal body figure, right? And then you think about
Absolutely.
someone, yeah, right. You can think about someone on the other end of the spectrum who's not quite there. Even if it's like a skinny guy, the next step on that flow chart is like, are you eating healthy foods? If your answer is no to that, then you have to go back to the top of the flow chart and be like you have to reset yourself and like, are you eating healthy foods? Because you have to be eating healthy to get to the Rock level, right? And then the second part of that is, are you sleeping enough? Like, are you getting enough sleep? And again, if the answer is no, then you go back to the top of that. We have to restart this whole process. And then the third part of that is the movement. It's like, are you moving your body the right way? Like The Rock didn't get to where he was by not lifting weights. Like you have to lift weights. And you have to figure out, okay, what things in your life are you willing to sacrifice to get to that level of The Rock? And, or like, how much of that goal are you willing to sacrifice? Because sometimes like, yes, I want to get to The Rock, but like, I don't want to give up drinking and I don't want to get up, like staying up late and hanging out with my friends. So it's like, well, we're going to be okay not being The Rock for a while. And maybe one day
Right.
you'll get that last bit of motivation to where you're like, okay, now I want to be The Rock.
Yeah. And do you find it too? I would always tell people before, and they would laugh, like, Heidi, what the heck are you talking about? I always say, love your breed. Love
Yeah.
your breed.
Yep.
A bulldog can never be a Great Dane. A Great Dane will never be a bulldog. We all have different muscle mass. We all our physique is different. So
Correct.
somebody might normally just be born with a lot of muscle, or
Yeah.
thicker up top. Then you might have somebody that it might not be without things that you're not supposed to take
Right.
realistic for you. So don't you find that it's like, wait a minute, just I always say, love your breed, love who
Yep.
you
Yep.
are, and
And I
work
think
with
it's
that.
also it's really important to try to find some examples of people in their circle or in their family. If you have a family member who is like,
Yeah.
this family member of mine has always been in shape, it's like, well, let's talk to them. Let's see what they're doing differently in their life that maybe other family members aren't doing. And that's also a good motivating tool. I have a lot of people who will tell me straight up, like, hey, like, my dad passed away whenever he was 50 because he didn't have these things together. And I really want to have these things together. And it was their spark. It was what started them off down this path. And it's just like, okay, like how do we like offset this? How do we, do we curb your drinking? Are you drinking too much? Is it your eating? Like, what are the things that we can do to help you not reach that grim future? And like realistically, like the approach is, this is the long game, because we can do healthy stuff for 1 year and maybe that just adds one extra year to your life. But if you go right back to those bad habits, it's easy to double up the problems that you had before. So like, how do we offset those things?
Right. And it kind of boils down to like, these are habits. Like this
Yeah.
ain't something, if you want to maintain, then right. That's why they say so many times before people do have those weight loss surgeries that you have to be in the mindset, because if we do this and you lose, whether it's surgery, whether it's a coach, whatever it is, and you're all done, you reach a point and then you're like, you're back to doing your bad habits, you're going right back to that place again.
Right.
Mai said here, I do love the flexibility of your program. It is scary to go to a gym, but this makes it more approachable. And
Oh, for
I love
sure.
that, Mai. That's also wonderful there, because so many people don't feel comfortable going in the gym, and because they're not there yet.
Right. I think that's probably one of the biggest points for our program is there are some people who love to be in the gym. And I can make a program for someone who wants to be in the gym, 4 to 5 or even more days a week. It works around their schedule. They don't have to work out whenever I work out. It's like everything is there for them. If they have questions, I'm there for them as well. I can help them with form correction stuff. But at the same time, if it's someone who's just like, I never want to go to the gym and I don't ever want to have to think about going to the gym, we can still reach all your goals at home. I have one guy in particular I'm thinking about. He does like a hybrid approach. So 2 days he's at home doing exercises, and then the other 2 days he's in the gym. And I tell him the same I tell people when they go to see physical therapists. I'm like, when you go to the gym, we're going to get the most out of the gym. We're going to use all the weights. We're going to use all the machines. And when you're home, we can work on the stuff that we can't, like we can work on in the gym, but it wouldn't be time effective. Like, let's just work on the stuff at home that makes sense for you to be working at home without the weights.
Right. And just incorporating it all. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a good idea too. If you just feel like maybe you don't mind the gym and you can get there a couple days a week, and then that's an awesome point there.
Yep.
One question here we was talking about on there is some questions you get. Do you have to work out at any specific time? When somebody asks you that, what do you say to that?
Yeah, my number one answer to this would be no, but there's always a caveat. There's some people who they come to us and their biggest thing is accountability. They just want to be accountable. They want to work out consistently. So sometimes it might be more helpful to have them work out at a specific time. It might be like, hey, if you don't have anything in your schedule before 10 a.m., then we need to work out at 8 a.m. Because if we don't work out at 8 a.m., after 10 a.m., like anything is liable to go on into your schedule. As we all know, as like adults, the longer your day goes, the less your motivation is there. So rather than having like you try to think about going to work out after you finish work and after you ate dinner, and then you have to let the food settle in your stomach. Let's just knock it out at 8. Let's put it on the schedule. And thankfully, because of the technology with this app, there's a couple of things that we can do. Like I can just send you a message at 8 o'clock in the morning, say like, where are you? Like, is it time to go? And I can also set up a reminder. So if you missed your workout, the app will buzz you and be like, did you forget something?
That's
So for
awesome.
sure. So it's like different levels of accountability. And everyone needs some level of that. I mean, I love working out. And there's definitely some mornings where I'm just like, I could push this back another half hour. And then like I'll have my app set to buzz me and like, nope, it's your workout time. So I just go and get it done.
Yeah, that accountability, because let's face it, like I said, I think that goes for everybody. That goes for the coaches, anybody, people that are in this field. There's days you get up and you're like, nah, I don't feel like doing it. And then when the phone rings or you're buzzing and it's like, listen, I see you. You better, where are you? Then you're going to be like, whoa, well, then you're more inclined to get up and push yourself,
For
you
sure.
know. Also, too, another question here is, how often do you talk to your coach when they're on with you? How often do they talk to you?
Oh yeah, for sure. So you can essentially reach out to schedule a call with your coach anytime that you want. We always say like every 2 weeks you can check in with your coach, but realistically, some people need to hit that like motivation spike sooner than that. Especially whenever you're just starting. If you're just starting and you just created or trying to create this habit, having like having check-ins more often is better for you. And all of our coaches are full-time coaches. So you don't have to worry about like, well, I can't check in with my coach because their schedule is full because we're full time. So typically this is all we're doing. We do, we're normal humans. We do rest on the weekends and stuff like that. I typically take Sundays off and typically take Thursdays off from calls unless it's an emergency. But I always tell people that is too. I'm like, even though these are like the days that I don't normally have calls, if you need to talk to me, trust me, I'm not doing much. I'm gone to the grocery store. I'm doing yoga. I'm hanging out with my kids. If you really need to talk with me, we can chat and we can do like a quick check-in call, like 15 minutes, or we can do a full FaceTime call where we go over like stuff that might be yelling you or even holding you back. Everyone has different reasons why things may prevent them from continuing on with a program. But we always try to encourage, like, let's talk about every little thing. I had someone last year, I remember this, they didn't like the way that I named their workouts. Mostly because they felt like there was like a magnitude of it because I named them like push pull something. I think it was some combination name, and they felt like if they missed one workout, then they couldn't do the other workout till they made it up. So they felt like there was extra pressure to do one. And then the minute that I renamed the exercises, renamed the workout, and that was the other thing. There was an exercise in one of the workouts that they just hated, and we talked about it. And we're like, well, if you hate that exercise, let me know that because there are a million different ways to hit the same muscle group. Like if our goal is to hit your hamstrings, there's a bunch of different ways for us to hit your hamstring. We don't have to do something you hate. So we were able to modify those things, and then they got right back on track. And that's the thing too. Like we try to encourage like regular contact. Some people don't want that. I have some people, they do their workouts, they send me their food log to let me know that everything's gone well, and that's our interaction for the week. And I have other people who are just like, can we call every Friday? And I'm just like, yeah, like as long as it's set in my schedule, I remember to do it. So let's do it. I think I lost you.
Okay, now I
Hey,
just was muted there. When you say that communication would be key too, like you just
oh,
said,
for sure.
I love that you said that because no matter who, you know, is coaching or whatever, let them know if something's bothering you, if you don't like something, if something's painful. When you
Yep,
say like have that open communication, so we can understand each other and switch stuff up if needed.
for sure. I always tell people, even just to set expectations, like talk to me. Like I don't know, I can't see how you're feeling. And I love our app and I love the technology that we use, especially for like our Apple Watch users, because I can actually see more data than I could see training someone in person. Because I can see your heart rate fluctuations during certain exercises. I can see like sort of like the exact amount of time that it took you to do an exercise and the exact amount of rest that you took. I can see all of that stuff, and it's wonderful data. But at the end of the day, like I can't see if you're hating this or loving this. And I'm always just like,
Yeah.
let's talk about those things. Because like building out a program for you to help you get to your success, again, like it's not that it's a hard thing, especially because like I am continuing to try to educate myself and like make it the best program for you. Like those things are easy. But what's the hard part is like just making sure that we're on the same wavelength and that you're feeling encouraged, you're ready to go at all times.
Yeah, and that's you know what might be a neat thing is having a little emoji
Yep.
that they do after. Like if you see somebody in there,
Yep.
you know, okay, maybe this one wasn't good,
For
or if
sure.
they're angry or what. That would be cute to have an
Yeah.
emoji there.
We definitely
Um,
have like we have like a rating system after every workout, so someone can
oh,
say like
that's
I
sweet.
hated this. Yeah,
Yeah,
we used to have emojis though, basically asking because that's another thing that changes a lot. Like, how is your headspace before you even start this workout? I
yeah,
mean, there might be a
yeah.
lot of stuff going on before you even start the workout, and it might not have anything to do with the actual workout you're doing. So
Right. Yeah, that is so true because
yeah,
if you're in a bad mood before you started or if you're not feeling good, you're going to hate that workout the whole
right.
time and then the next day you might just love it. So,
Right. And
yeah,
that's why I always
having
tell people like reach out to me. Like when you send me a message in the app, it comes through on my end and I can see it like and I check that as often as I check my text messages. So I'm always just like if you're in the gym and you look up and you go to do lat pull down and you're just like I'm not feeling it today. Like let me know because there's other things that we can do. Or if you're just like drained in energy and you're just like legit I have to move this workout over a day, you know, I might offer to give you something else in its place. I'm like, yeah, like let's not do a full gym workout today, but let's do some stretching at home because it might be something that you need anyway. But also it'll allow you to have that place like this is still your workout time, but let's do something that's a little bit easier on your body and on your mind. That way you can like keep this in place and you don't fill it up with something else.
yeah, and also too because you can have injuries doing,
Yeah,
you know, if you're not feeling it and your body is not up to that, be very mindful of that because you can have a lot of injuries
for sure.
doing some of those. Awesome. One here, can you use any other services while using this CoPilot, like Peloton, like anything else? We talked about the gym,
Yeah,
but
for sure. I almost highly encourage using other things. I encourage like yoga classes, anything else that'll help supplement like what we're doing in terms of your programming. I have some people who use Peloton. They might use Peloton 2 or 3 days a week, and then on the off days, we'll do like strength workouts. I have other people who are like they're runners. Like at the end of the day, they are running somewhere more than like 70 miles a week and really what they need is like strength and mobility stuff to make sure that they don't get injured. And basically, I'll program out 2 or 3 days of like strength and mobility stuff that they need to hit. They'll do their runs and we'll check in at the end of the week just to see like what is your body feeling, how are we feeling going into next week, what is your next long run, so stuff like that. But the benefit of Copilot is that you just have a coach there on every step of the way. So even if you go from a situation where you're just like, you know, I don't run now, but I want to run a marathon in 3 months, you have a coach that will help get your strength and your conditioning there to a place where you feel comfortable and you're not going to hurt yourself. Because, like as you mentioned before, like if you get hurt, then everything else goes out the window. Like, and I am big on injury prevention, but our biggest goal is to make sure that you get there in one piece to whatever your goal is. I see that Mai
Yes.
has a question too. He's
Yeah,
asking.
so because this is so funny. I was an Android person for years and years, me and my husband. Kids, everybody's Apple. So I switched to Apple, and now mine too. When is this coming for Android and Fitbit?
So I don't have a definitive answer, but I will say that we were always iterating and we are always looking to work with like the best technology. The reason why we even started with Apple is it just made sense. In terms of like the US market base, there's a lot of people who have Apple products. So it was easy for us to jump in there. Plus, Apple has development tools for Apple products. Whereas like the bigger problem with Android previously, it's sort of changing because they're doing some stuff on the tech level, is that Android didn't have like a direct watch. So if we chose to start with Android, it would be like, okay, which watch do we use? Because there's no watch that Android developers develop for exclusively, as opposed to like the iPhone had the Apple Watch. So it was sort of like an easy way to jump in. Definitely use the referral link though.
Yes.
You'll get a free watch, or you'll get not a free watch. I'm sorry, you'll get a free month.
A free month, and that was what we're showing here. I'm going to put it across the screen also. This here, can you talk about this a little bit, Nathaniel, of how exactly somebody can start up, what they're looking at, different things they can expect?
Yeah. So once you start, as I mentioned before, you'll go through a whole process where you'll be able to input your goals and stuff like that, and you get to select a coach. So even when you're on that screen, it's not like us automating who your coach is. You get to choose from the coaches that it has on there when you first sign up based on your goals. And say that you go to sign up and you get like 3 coaches to populate, and you're like, I don't like any of these coaches. You can actually hit, there's like a icon or button that you can hit to basically see more coaches, and you'll have like a wider range of people to choose. Once you do that, you're able to schedule a call, and we highly recommend everyone try to schedule the call like within the first week. Like once you sign up, try to schedule that call as soon as possible, because like we want to make sure that you're like you find the match, you find the person who's best for you, and your free trial actually won't start until you have your call with your coach and you do your first workout. So if for whatever reason, say you're gone on vacation next week, or you're gone on vacation next week, and you're like, I don't want to start or have my call until after that vacation week, you can schedule that out, and your free month won't start until after that. But once you have your coach, you get scheduled, they pay, and you have that call. They'll basically like walk you through everything. You can tell them what your goal is, and after that, it's like this is a relationship. Like you let me know what your goals are. You let me know what your like limitations are and your expectations for how you want this program to go. Because a lot of people they come into it with a thought of you're a scary personal trainer and you're gonna yell at me and you're gonna tell me all these things that I don't like. Whereas like realistically, like there are so many ways to help you get to your goal. And sometimes it might not even be, us focusing on your movement for the first week. Our focus for the first week might just be, drink water every day. Like drink water when you wake up in the morning, try to get to a water goal, something like that. And like, let's do some mobility stuff to help whatever else you have going on. And then after that first week, it might be like, okay, let's get some consistent movement on your schedule. We found some times that would work. If that movement is just 15 minutes a day, or if that's like hour-long workouts, figuring out what's going to fit into your schedule the best and what's going to allow you to be most successful. If I give you hour-long workouts and you only have 15 minutes a day to do it, then you won't feel successful because you'll feel like you're never hitting that out mark. So if that means we just make your program as short as possible so you can get it in and you can start to feel that success, that'll help motivate you to want to push more.
Awesome. That sounds like so amazing. This is like an amazing thing. I love it.
For sure.
And what would you say, like people out there that I love the fact that too when you said we might take the first week to work just maybe on getting to know you, number one.
Yeah.
Getting to know, like, feeling you out a little bit and changing different habits like water. Like we just had a water challenge a couple months ago, and it was a few months ago back, and it was amazing. People's like, and I know myself too, because sometimes the day gets so busy and you don't realize it, but once you form that habit,
Yeah,
That's it. That is switching good stuff. I mean, bad stuff for good stuff.
for
And
sure.
so, what would you say to people that's like, oh no, I want this now. I want this now. Like to just stay calm, right? Maybe.
Right, right. I always tell people like when you jump into a fitness journey or a health journey like this, we want to make sure that we're not changing too many variables at once. The last thing I want to do is give you 7 different things to do to start, because if I start you off with 7 different things, one, it might be hard to hold on and do all of those things. But two, we won't even know what's working for you and what's hurting you. Like if I give you 7 different things to change on the first week, like 3 of those things might be working in your benefit, and the other 4 might be making it harder for you to do the first 3. So it's like we have to figure out like what are the things that work best for you. So a lot of times I try to make it like we talk about like what is like sort of not like perfect conditions, but what is like the one thing that you have the most confidence that you can do? Like what are the 10 like what items in your life are like 10 out of 10? Like you brush your teeth every morning without even thinking about it. That's like a 10 out of 10 item. So what can we do that will also be 10 out of 10? Sometimes that's just like a person saying, well, I can go for a walk after I have dinner. Like I have to walk my dogs anyway. I can just make sure that I'm doing that every day after dinner. I'm like, cool. So we added some movement for this first week. And we made that easy. So now what? Now what can we add? It's going to feel like a 10 out of 10. And the person's like, well, after I walk my dogs and I get back home, I realize that I have like 15 to 30 minutes before I do anything. And I'm just like playing around on my phone. I'm like, well, instead of playing on your phone, like, or this has probably happened more often. A lot of people watch YouTube videos, and sometimes those YouTube videos are like 10 to 15 minutes, little informational things. And they'll come down to being like, well, during that YouTube video, let's just do some push-ups. Let's do some push-ups with some rest. Let's do some air squats. Let's see what we can fit into you watching your YouTube videos. And they're like, oh, that's easy. I'm like, yeah, like we're trying to make this as easy as possible. We want to make this like low-hanging fruit.
And I love that you say that, because so many times, and number one, we're all like, think we're all guilty of it. Now I don't have time, but
Right.
you'll be scrolling on your phone for an
Right.
hour. It's like, no, we have time. Like, how do we prioritize that time
Right.
here now? And I loved it, the fact that you said like where you just incorporate it in with something you're doing. Even if you're like, hey, I listen, Grey's Anatomy's on or something. I
Right.
gotta watch this program. While you're doing that, why aren't you doing squats or push-ups or some type of exercise? I
Or
do
just
on my
stretching.
bike.
Yeah.
Yeah, or stretching. I do on my bike. I find it has a thing where I can go see different places, but sometimes I'll just watch like Reba or some program, and I don't even realize I'm exercising because I'm enjoying both.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So that's awesome. Regina has a question here. How often do you encourage your clients to work out?
Yeah, it all starts with where they're coming from. If it's a person who's already working out 3 days a week, we'll stick at that 3 days a week for a couple of weeks and then increase it if necessary, depending on their goals. But it's more important to figure out like where is their starting line. If they're not working out at all, then we'll start with a baseline. Like, okay, let's do this three days a week or 2 days a week, and then see once that's consistent to increase that number. But I think the bigger thing is I always tell people this, like, let's use the fact that you haven't been doing any activity. Like since you have been doing absolutely nothing, let's use that. Like let's slowly build up into something that is really sustainable and that you enjoy. Instead of like having us jump in and be like, all right, we're gonna work out 5 days this week. Because what will happen with that 5 days a week is like I call it the problem of escalation. Now that we've done 5 days a week really hard, we have to keep that level. We have to maintain that level for you to continue to feel good and like see this improvement. And realistically, starting off that hot, you're more likely to get injured, or you're really likely to feel really sore and stuff like that. And then you're less likely to want to come back. That's probably the number one thing that stops a person from coming back for the second workout is their first workout made them too sore.
Yeah, and they don't realize they need that recovery time. Like
Yep.
if you literally need recovery, especially if you're incorporating weights or something, which I just want to say real quick, Wanda Davila, hello everybody. Hello, Wanda. It is wonderful to have you on. Mai Tai, how does this compare to programs like Noom and Beachbody?
So I actually used Noom because I was just curious and I wanted to test it. And I had a lot of clients that was using Noom. The one thing that I found with Noom, although I feel like all the resources were really helpful, there was a point where it got very noisy, where it seemed like there were like check-ins every day and there was stuff, materials for you to read, but it wasn't like action-oriented stuff. It wasn't very much like how am I implementing this into my life. It was just like more information, which I'm just like, that is awesome to have, but it gets to a point where it felt like a little exhausting. And then in terms of Beachbody is very much, it's not individualized training. So Beachbody has a lot of different programs and stuff that you can do that is fun, but it might not be directly related to what my goals are or what my limitations are. So if I get a Beachbody program and it has me doing a bunch of jumps, that like right off the bat for me, that wouldn't be good. I'm actually 2.5 months removed from a knee surgery.
Oh,
So
I can feel your pain on knee
right, right.
surgery. So
And and it really stinks. So what stinks even more about the knee surgery is like I'm in really good shape. So it wasn't like I injured myself doing something dumb. I hit knees with someone. It's such a freak accident, something I've done a million times. But
oh,
I'm good now. I'm like 2.5 months removed, but I'm doing lunges and stuff like that. Nothing super heavy weighted yet, still body weight stuff. But those are the two extremes. We fit in a much different way because everything that we do, yeah, definitely hate burpees.
yeah, she hates burpees,
She
and
hates
she
burpees.
Regina said she also does her. I love squats. She does them in the shower. I hate squats, but I'll do them in the shower to get them out of the way. There you go.
Yeah. Right,
Like, and people do that,
right.
and talking about Regina, too funny. Talking about injuries, okay?
Yeah.
When you are in shape, isn't recovery so much better?
Oh,
Like
it's so
it
better.
really, yeah. To come out of surgery or come out of any type of thing like that when you're in shape, that's another reason why, like, health,
Right.
to worry about that, because at some point in time we're all going to have some. I've had my share, more than I would like to, of my surgeries, and I tell you what, the older you get, you don't come back as fast.
Right.
Which brings me to another question. What would you say what is the age range that you guys get?
Yeah. So we try not to work with people who are too young because like you need your parents' permission and it's a lot better to have your parent along that journey with you.
Right.
I think I'm training someone he is 13, but most of the time when we do our interactions, our calls and stuff like that, his mom is there with him. And part of the
Okay.
reason why he's working with me is that I've been working with his mom and dad for the last 6 months, and they were just like, our son wants muscles, and we don't know what to do about that. Can you work with him
Yeah.
as well? And I guess that sort of goes back to the previous question too, is everything that we do is individualized. So if I'm building a program for you, it's based on what you told me your previous injury history was, the exercises that you enjoy doing, the equipment that you have. It's not cookie cutter in any way. We try as hard as possible to build a program out that speaks to you. Now, there are some exercises that you might do that we might have someone else do just because, like, if you tell me that your goal is to get a butt, like, there are certain exercises that I have to do that have you do to grow your butt. But I only bring that up because, again, like, the programs are very individualized. So I do have like a person who's just like, I want my butt to get bigger. And then I have other people who are like, I want my shoulders to get bigger. So like those have to be very different programs. And like stuff like Beachbody, it won't get you there as directly, if that makes sense.
Well, I want a butt. I want a bigger butt. I lost it somewhere along my life.
I always tell people too, like it's not even like everyone says they want a bigger butt, but what you really want is you want your butt to show and your quads and your thighs to not grow as large as your butt. So it's like
Yeah.
you want that mix.
Yes, I want a
Yeah.
smaller waist, a little bit bigger booty,
Yep.
and yeah, I definitely. So just we're gonna put up on the screen here again. Um, Here, your CoPilot program. There you go. First month of CoPilot is free when you sign up with that link. Oh my goodness, first
Yep.
month is free. Like, come on, people.
Yeah. And if
That
you're
is awesome.
and if you're curious about the pricing, basically it's around $69, $70 a month. And I always tell people to train with me in person is $35 for a $30 session. So that is basically the equivalent of 2 in-person sessions, which in the grand scheme of things isn't that expensive, like in comparison, especially since with CoPilot, you get unlimited access to your trainer. So like you're not only getting 2 workouts for that price. It is, it is as much as you need from that coach in that time.
Right. That's amazing. That is truly amazing. Meyer, she stuck up some stuff there, frequently asked questions.
Yep.
On there, if you go on the site there, you're gonna find any of your questions that you need answered. You have that. So that, Nate, that this is so wonderful. I'm so excited for you. That is like
Yeah.
awesome. You
I'm very
guys,
excited.
yeah. And for that price, I wanted to ask you too, do you guys go over supplements at all, or do you guys offer that training too? When somebody says, "Hey, I want to be the Rock," well, okay, you're getting your protein in. Do you deal with supplements also?
So we don't push any supplements directly onto a person. Like we're not trying to sell any supplements through our site and through
Right.
our program. A lot of it comes down to like what is the person's goals. I had a guy who wanted to look like Henry Cavill. That was his goal. So a lot of it was just talking about, okay, like realistically, these are workouts you're doing. And at one point he was working out 6 days a week. He was crushing it. I mean, he's been crushing it. But the bigger thing came down to like working out that much, you need to make sure that you're eating the correct amount. And we have, because we're going through, like most of us are going through the nutrition certification, and others have already had it. We use this nutrition calculator from Precision Nutrition that is pretty awesome. It'll break down to like what a person should be eating in terms of their macros and stuff like that. And we just share that. We like to share that information. And the other thing is just pointing people in the right direction. I think a lot of people will come to me with a question and a link like, hey, I thought about getting this massage gun because I saw a link somewhere that said that it can help grow my abs. And they send me the link and I look at it and we talk about the whole process. Like, so the website that says that this is happening, they're trying to sell you that. Like, let's go
Yeah.
to like, it's like, let's go to Science Daily. Let's go look at some like research to see what the research says. And like, it's not definitive on whether or not it'll help you grow. It's like, but you know what will help you show your abs? Like if we lose body fat and if we work on your core strength.
Yeah. And I think the market was there, for years and years. I'm sure that I bought stuff along the way too. Clear back when Suzanne Summers was doing that inner thigh thing, and you'd put it through and squeeze it. Hey, it was a little bit of a workout, but I'm dating back a little bit, right? Like they have come, and it all boils down to is kind of natural, putting the work in. And when
For
you
sure.
have a coach, yeah, here, I love these things here that we're putting up on there about before in my 20s,
the
2 kids,
journeys.
COVID. Then I love when you said that you have the little,
Yep.
the wave right there to get to today. That's awesome.
And one of our newest features actually is groups. And basically what it allows you to do is say that you and 2 other friends are on CoPilot together. It allows you actually to chat about like when you finish workouts and talk about how you're feeling, like within the groups, even like outside of your trainer. That gives you extra accountability and stuff like that.
That's awesome. That's a good question there. So if somebody say I'm like, hey, I got my family, that want to come in, do you guys ever do a group thing, or do you stick individually, or do you do like, hey, these 2 sisters or something, they're working out
Yeah.
together?
We do encourage like individual, like all of our subscriptions are individual subscriptions. We
Right.
do have like family discount and stuff like that. And we also have
Okay.
like a yearly discount. So if you sign up for like a yearly plan, it's discounted as well. But what we will do is like, for instance, I have 2 brothers that work out. They don't work out together and they're actually in different cities most of the time. But like anytime they're on vacation, I'll give them both a similar workout to do together. And normally it's like a challenge. They're very competitive. So I'll be like, all
Yeah.
right, you guys are going to do like this push-up challenge together. You're going to do push-ups and this core workout together, stuff like that. So.
Wow, that is, oh my goodness. This has been such a wonderful, coming up on an hour. I can't even believe already. This has been so wonderful. I'm going to look out um and see if anybody out there have any more questions that you would love to ask Coach Nathaniel. You know, we'd love to have any questions here. And Avita, she says
Yeah.
hello. I just want to recognize some people here in the audience. Um, this is awesome. Courtney says, love that analogy, Heidi Lindsay. Love your breed. Courtney loves, and of course, Uncle is so proud of you. Mai, thank you so much for putting those up on the screen.
Definitely.
Before we end here, and I'm going to put it up here. Let's show this again. Okay, we're putting your link up here. Is there anything that you want to close on, Nathaniel, that you can,
No,
end the show here?
everyone always asks me sort of like why, like what I enjoy the most about this. Like I love the human experience. I love that we all come from different backgrounds and we have different things that we enjoy to do, and that's sort of what has attracted me to most to this type of work is just being able to talk to people and like hear their journeys and learn from them. I don't expect to always be in the best health. Like anything can change, right? So I appreciate whenever I meet someone who has, I've met like a former dancer that gained weight after an injury and now they're trying to work that off and they're seeing success. Like I appreciate those things because it helps encourage me to continue in this journey. But it also gives me something to share with someone else whenever they're down. Like it's easy to feel like where you're at is the lowest point. But it's great to be able to share experiences with everyone and just be like, hey, like we're not at our lowest point yet because we're still on this earth and breathing and we can still move into a good direction. So definitely enjoy this work. And I enjoy what you guys do as well. And I appreciate you having me.
Oh, Nathaniel, thank you so much. Like you've got something really awesome, so anybody out there looking for that one-on-one, here's the link to Nathaniel. Regina says perfectly explained, and it is. Nathaniel, you did an absolutely wonderful job tonight of explaining everything. Let me see if we have any more. Regina says so much great information. So glad you were here. I think, yes. And that's amazing. Thank you so much. So much.
Thank you.
We are blessed. I can see why your uncle is so proud of you because you're an amazing person and you could just tell your heart and all of that. And I love the fact that you said that you relate in that because even like I'm not, it's hard, especially when you trained or you was in the health field and you have surgeries and you gain weight. I'm there, like, and sometimes you get bummed that you can't do, and I torn meniscus and all that. You can't do the things that you do, but you got to kind of live in the now and say, okay, this is where I'm at in life, but let's make the best of it. Let's, let's go from there.
You can plot out that future point. I'm not jumping today, but like, 2 or 3 months from now, I'm going to be back playing basketball. It's going to happen. So
yeah, exactly. And that's the attitude everybody needs to hear, right?
Yep.
Awesome. Avita said, thank you. Avita, so nice to have you in the house tonight.
Thank you all. Yep.
She loves squats. Avita don't like burpees.
I don't like burpees either. I honestly
don't know if I ever met anybody that says that they actually love a burpee, but
I have 2 people that told me they love burpees, and I was just like,
oh, really? Yeah.
It's like, where are you from? Who loves burpees?
Oh my. Well, again, thank you so much, Nathaniel. We're coming up here to closing on there. Please, David Omar Fisher says thank you. Thank you, David, for being on here. Any questions, feel free. Again, share this with family, share this with friends. Thank you so much for joining Are You Well Wednesday. This week actually will be the last week for Are You Well Wednesday. We're going to be having a talk once a month. We're going to be starting in October with our wonderful strategic partners. So I just want to thank everybody so much. Leave your comments and Nate will answer. You guys, But thank you all guys all for being on here, and both strategic partners, the audience, everybody out there, for loving on CWC. We love you back. And man, CWC is blowing up too. We're corporate or collaborating with wonderful people like this. So be sure to check out what we got going on in the future here. So
For
Nate,
sure.
thank you, and
Yeah,
you
thank
have a
you.
wonderful evening.
You also.
All right, stay healthy. Rock on.